Hello everyone, I'm back again. I'm Dina Akasha, and today we're going to discuss. Now, this video is going to be a simple video about algebraic manipulation, all to be very specific with the words algebraic brackets multiply together, either multiplying two binomials or multiplying three binomials, or just basically multiplying any two items or three items in math. So if you please open my notes to page number 67, or if you do not have the notes, you can just refer to the video and write the examples anywhere in your copybook. So if you're using my notes, as you can see, this is page number 67. Now, what are we going to do today? Today, we're going to learn how to multiply two brackets, how to multiply three brackets, how to multiply any two or three items in math. Now, by looking at these three examples, and if I'm going to describe these three pairs of brackets written here on the board, in the notes, I'm going to describe them as different brackets. Why am I going to describe them as different brackets? Because as you can see, the numbers inside the brackets are totally different. That's why I actually decided to label them as different brackets. Now, how do I expand different brackets? This is super easy. Now, to expand different brackets, all they can do is just pretend that this 4 does not exist over here. And then what you can do is take the first term, multiply here, multiply there. So y times y is y squared, y times 2 is 2y, and then this 4 that you actually pretended that it did not exist, you can actually pretend now that the y doesn't exist. Take the 4, multiply by the first term, take the 4, multiply by the second. And always remember that when you multiply, I mean, don't put the plus on sign, the sign here, and don't put positive or negative unless you multiply first. So positive 4 times y is positive 4y, and positive 4 times positive 2 is positive 8. Now, why do I like this procedure over here? Is that because the like terms, as you can see, appear just right after one another. So now by combining like terms, you end up with y squared plus 6y and then plus 8. Okay, and please remember that we are expanding and simplifying. Now, this step over here is the expanding step, in which we remove the brackets. This step over here is the simplifying step, in which we collect like terms. Now, again, I'm going to solve question number 2 and question number 3. How do I expand two different brackets? You simply take the first term, multiply here, multiply there. And this is the expansion step. So x times x is x power 2. X times 1 is 1x. I always get this question, Miss, if I remove the 1, would it be incorrect? Of course not. You can write the 1 or you can remove it. It's totally up to you. Then you take the second term, multiply here, multiply there. Negative 6 times x is negative 6. X, negative 6 times positive 1 is negative 6. Now, by combining these two terms over here together, you end up with the simplest form, x power 2. And again, always remember that when you combine from left to right. So positive 1 minus 6 is negative 5x, and then minus 6 remains as it is. Moving on with question number 3. Same concept, multiply first and second. Take the first term, multiply here and there. Y times y, y squared. Y times negative 5, negative 5y. And then take the second term, multiply here, multiply there. And please remember that when you multiply, sometimes the signs change. So let's see. Negative 1 times y is negative 1y, and negative 1 times negative 5, negative 1 times negative 5 is positive 5. Collection of like terms, these two together combined, negative 5y minus 1y is negative 6y plus 5. And here goes your final answer. Moving on to page number 68, another example related to different brackets. And as you can see, why is this bracket, يعني مثلا if I'm going to label it, I'm going to label it يعني with the sad face. And again, these brackets, they are different brackets, as you can see, because all the numbers are different. But we do it the same way. Why will I consider this يعني some sort of a tricky question? Because of this letter that we have over here, which is the second letter. But do the steps change? Definitely not. The steps do not change. I take the first term, multiply here, multiply there. And remember, again, as I said, that whenever you're dealing with algebra, as algebra is the part of math that deals with letters and numbers, you work on the numbers first, and then you work on the letters. So from left to right, 3 times 2, 6. P times P is P squared. And then moving on, 3P times positive 5 is positive 15. P times Q is PQ. Okay, Taman, if you want to rewrite it as QP, it doesn't make a difference. And then I will take the second term, multiply here, multiply there. It is very important to be organized. Negative 2 times positive 2 is negative 4. P times Q is PQ, or as we said, if you write it as QP, it won't make a difference. Negative 2 times positive 5 is negative 10. Q times Q is Q squared. Now, again, the like terms, as you can see, appear consecutively يعني ورا بعضيهم كده زي ما انتم شايفين. Now, the first term remains as it is, 6p squared, plus combine the 15 and the negative 4 into plus 11 PQ, and then you have negative 10Q power 2, negative 10Q power 2. I just want to give a hint or give a name for the answer of 2 different brackets. The answer of 2 different brackets is what we call a quadratic trinomial. A quadratic trinomial. Trinomial means, as you can see, we have 3 terms. Quadratic trinomial means that the maximum power in this expression is 3. Now, if you look at the letter P from the left, you will find that the powers descendingly are P power 2, P power 1, and then P power 0, as I don't have the P in the last term. Or if you actually decide to check it from the left, from the right, you'll find that it starts with Q squared, and then Q power 1, and then no Q. Again, trinomial means 3 terms. Quadratic means the maximum power is 2. Again, the result of multiplication of 2 different brackets is a quadratic trinomial. Trinomial means it has 3 terms, as you can see, and the powers are descendingly power 2, power 1, and then if there was a y over here, it would be to the power of 0. And this is what it means by a quadratic trinomial. Moving on to this question over here, I'm actually going to zoom in because I'm going to add another question next to question number 5. Now, question number 5, let me برضو بس zoom in a bit more. ولا هو أصلا مش عايز. Okay. Now, as for question number 5, if I want to give a name for these 2 brackets, these 2 brackets will be called almost same brackets. And why do I call them almost same brackets? Because as you can see, the numbers are exactly the same, but the only difference between these 2 brackets is the sign. The only difference between these 2 brackets is the sign. Okay, so am I still allowed to use the same procedure? Yes, definitely, which is taking the first term, multiply here, multiply there. So 5y times 5y, or 5 times 5, 25, y times y, y squared. 5y times 2 is positive 10y. And then you take the second term, multiply here, multiply there. Negative 2 times 5 is negative 10y. Negative 2 times positive 2 is negative 4. Now, by combining like terms, you will find that these 2 terms, positive 10 and negative 10, they combine into 0. Positive 10 and negative 10, they combine into 0. So by writing the final answer will be y squared minus 4. يعني لأن دول كده هيبقوا مع السلامة. طيب, is there a shortcut that I can use only in almost same brackets, again, is there a shortcut that I can use in almost same brackets? And تاني, only almost same. In almost same brackets, you are allowed to use this shortcut, which is skip a step. Skip a step shortcut. What can I do over here? In the almost same brackets, you can multiply first times first, and then second times second. Super easy. But again, this is only in the almost same brackets. So what I can do over here, first times first, 5y times 5y is 25y squared. And then second times second, -2 times +2 is -4. And you are allowed to use this shortcut only in this case. So let me give you another example over here. مثلا, assuming I have this, okay? 3x plus 7 were 3x minus 7. These two brackets, can I consider them as almost same? Yes, I can. Why? Because by labeling with an arrow, as you can see, the only difference between them is the sign. The only difference between them is the sign. What is the shortcut that I can use in almost same? The shortcut I can use in almost same is skip a step. What do I mean by skip a step? I can multiply first times first. 3x times 3x is 9x squared. And then multiply second times second. +7 times -7 is -49. -49. Now, this is for the skip step. Okay, and this is for the second case, which is اللي هي the almost same brackets. Okay, now as for the last type of brackets, as you can see over here, are these two brackets over here, which I call the twins. دول التوأم, twins. Why did I call them the twins, or why will I call them the twins? Because a bracket power 2, if I wish to expand this bracket over here squared, this will be expanded into 3x plus 5y multiplied by itself. 3x plus 5y multiplied by itself. That's why I decided to call them twins. Type. Can I use the same procedure in multiplying these two? Definitely. I will take the first term, multiply here, multiply there. Okay? So let's do that together. 3x times 3x is 9x squared. 3x times 5y is positive 15xy, and you can shuffle the letters into yx, doesn't make a difference. Then take the second term, multiply here and then there. So I get positive 5 times 3x is positive 15xy. Oh, ايه ده؟ شفتوا O دي? Oh, this term is repeated twice. This term is repeated twice. And then 5y times 5y is 25y squared. By combining the like terms, I end up with 9x squared plus 30xy plus 25y squared. Now, why did I decide to do it this way? Because when I discuss the shortcut that we will use for twins, I want you to relate to this part over here. Okay? Type. Is there a shortcut that I can use for twins? Yes, there is a shortcut that I can use for twins. And what is this shortcut? Now, if you notice, 9x power 2 is the result of the first squared. 9x power 2 is the result of the first squared. So if I want to find the final answer of twins, I can do it immediately. The answer of twins is 3 terms. To find the first term, I square the first. So 3 power 2 is 9, x power 2 is x squared. Now let's look at the last term in my answer. The last term in the answer is the second squared. The last term in the answer is second squared. So if I wish to find the last term, هناخد the second power 2. So to find the first, square the first. To find the last, square the last. 5y power 2. 5 power 2 is 25. Y squared is y squared. Because the first term and the last term, they are both squared, so they will always and forever be positive. Plus VE يعني positive. They will always and forever be positive. Now let's look at the middle term. How did I get this middle term? ما هو 15xy دي get ازاي؟ Get by multiplying 3x and 5x and 5y. صح مش هي جت كده؟ 3x times 5y. 3x times 5y gives 15. طب how do I change it to 30? If I double it, then I will get my 30. So basically what I'm trying to say is to find the middle term, what you do is you take the first, multiply by the second, multiply by 2. First times second times 2. So 3x times 5y times 2 is 30xy. Since the bracket is positive, the middle term is positive. The middle term takes the sign of the bracket. Let me re-explain the shortcut of twins in question number 7. In question number 7, as you can see over here, let me zoom in. Okay, again, these are twins. Why are they twins? Because I can expand into 2 identical brackets as follows. 2 identical brackets, and then I can do it the normal way. But is there a shortcut that I can use for twins? Yes, there is. And the shortcut is 1, 2, 3. The answer of twins is 3 terms. To find the first, square the first. To find the first, square the first. يعني إيه square the first? يعني the first term, you simply square it. So x power 2 is x power 2. Oh, square the first. And then moving on to the last term, اللي هو ده. To find the last, you square the last, or the second. To find the last, you square the last. يعني ده power 2 يتحط هنا. 4 power 2 أو negative 4 power 2 is 16. Y power 2 is y squared. And please remember, if you want to put any negative number between a bracket on your calculator, put it between a bracket and put the power outside. Put it between a bracket and put the power outside. So negative 4 power 2 is 16. Now, as we said earlier, the first term and the last term, they are always positive. They are always positive. Now, what remains is the middle term. How do I find the middle term? To find the middle term, guys, remember that we take the original items inside the bracket. يعني I will take x, multiply by negative 4y, multiply by 2. ما بشتغلش على دول. بشتغل على الأرقام أو الitems اللي موجودة already في bracket. So to find the middle term, first times second times 2. الأولاني في الثاني في 2. So x times negative 4y times 2 is negative 8xy. And as we can see, the middle term always takes the sign of the bracket. Now, again, these shortcuts, the one I introduced, okay اللي هي almost same والtwins. These shortcuts they are only used in these cases. يعني almost same اهي let me highlight almost same هي بس اللي بستعمل فيها skip step. اوكي الtwins هي بس اللي بستعمل فيها الطريقة دي اللي هو square the first, square the last, first times second times 2. Now, if you don't like any of these shortcuts, you don't have to use them. But why do I want you to remember them? To solve these sort of questions اللي هي multiplying 3 linear binomials or just multiplying any 3 items. Okay, let's look at this part of the video, and this part is very important, but it's yet super easy. Okay, now let's just first identify the question, and then when I solve these two, I'll move on to the whiteboard to give you more examples about multiplying 3 items. First, let's start by the definition of the word linear. Linear means that any letter written in the question will be raised to the power of 1. Any letter written in the question will be raised to the power of 1. And binomial means an expression of 2 terms. Binomial means an expression of 2 terms. Now, let me just first move to the whiteboard and give you this example over here, which is x plus 1 مثلا multiplied by x power 2 plus 3x minus 7. Now, we didn't discuss how to multiply a bracket that has 2 items and a bracket that has 3 items. Please remember, an expression of 2 terms is called a binomial, and an expression of 3 terms is called a trinomial. Trinomial. Okay, مش باي وتراي بتوع الجيم. Binomial 2 terms, trinomial 3 terms. Now, how do I multiply these two? Again, using the concept اللي مش عاجبك خبيه, let's pretend that this one does not exist. So what you'll do is that you will take the first term, multiply here, multiply there, and multiply there. يعني أنا باخد ده بعمله times الأولاني والتاني والتالت. فالطريقة دي بتنفع when I am multiplying any 2 brackets. 2 في 2, 2 في 3, 3 في 3. So x times x squared, x power 3, x times 3x, 3x squared, x times negative 7 is negative 7x. And then, what will I do next? I guess you'll figure it out on your own. Now, please remember that we pretended that the 1 doesn't exist, but it exists. Now, I will pretend that the x doesn't exist, and I will move on to the 1. I will take the 1, multiply by the first term, multiply by the second, and multiply by the third. So 1 times x squared is 1x squared. 1 times 3x is positive 3x. 1 times negative 7 is negative 7. See? Very nice procedure that will help me multiply any 2 brackets. Okay? Now what do? I will use I don't have to use the highlighter. I will identify like terms. x power 3. طبعا تاني يا جماعة بأكد إنه like terms تمام اللي هم terms that have the same letter, and the letters must have the same power. The letters must have the same power. Okay? And when we combine like terms, يعني مثلا زي دي 3x power 2 and 1x power 2, we're going to add them together. We do not change the powers. We change the powers only in multiplication. فده مثلا will be combined with this. Negative 7 plus 3 is negative 4x, and then you have minus 7. And please remember that to be able to identify whether the term is positive or negative, you look to the left. Okay, now going back to the notes and see, how do I multiply 3 binomials or 3 items? Now, as you can see in this question, you have 3 brackets. Now, first, you need to look for any shortcuts. Do I have any shortcuts هنا؟ يعني مثلا, do I have twins? Do I have almost same? No. طيب, what do I do in this case? Please pay attention, and if you wish to write this down, please write it down. When you multiply 3 items, pick any 2. يعني أختار أي 2 brackets من اللي عندي دول. Multiply them. أعمل لهم multiplication. Simplify them. Simplify them يعني if there are any like terms, then you need to combine the like terms. Then multiply your answer by the third item. طبعا this is the mathematical explanation. If you have 3 items, as we have over here, pick any 2. اختار اي 2 دول مثلا مع بعض او دول مع بعض whatever او دول مع بعض. You pick any 2, you multiply them, you simplify them, then you take the answer and multiply by the word. In other words, as I always say, اللي مش عاجبك خبي. يعني ايه اللي مش عاجبك خبيه؟ يعني مثلا I am going to pretend okay, that this bracket over here does not exist. So if this bracket over here does not exist, what will I do? I will multiply normally, as I explained earlier, taking the first term, multiply here, multiply there. So x, this is step number 1. So x times x is x power 2. X times -1 is -1x. And then take the second term times هنا وهنا. Positive 7 times x is positive 7x. Positive 7 times -1 is -7. This is the pick any 2. Multiply them. Simplify. لأنه we do have like terms. And I always advise that you simplify if there is a chance. So there goes your simplest form. Okay, which is step number 2. X power 2 plus -1 plus 7 is plus 6x, and then -7. أهو. And then what? أهو خلاص خلصنا simplify them. And then what do? I take this answer and I multiply by the third item, which was I was hiding. هاخد بقى الإجابة دي and I multiply by the third item. بس هقوم واخدة الإجابة بتاعتي دي and I multiplied by the bracket اللي أنا كنت مخبياه. يا مس بس إحنا هنا في الإكزامبل ده اللي هو في الوايت بورد عملنا 2 في 3. ما it's the same يا جماعة. if we shuffle مش هتفرق. يعني لو خلطتها 3 في 2 أو 2 في 3 it's the same procedure. Okay, no difference whatsoever. So what will I do بقى هنا in this case? Take the first term, multiply here, multiply there. X power 2 times 2x is 2x power 3. And then take the second term, multiply here, multiply there. 6x times 2x is أنا نسيت حاجة. أنا ما كملتهاش. Sorry. معلش تاني. يبقى take the first term, multiply here, multiply there. X power 2 times 2x is 2x power 3. X power 2 times 1 is 1x squared. And then take the second term, multiply here, multiply there. 6x times 2x is 12x power 2. 6x times 1 is positive 6x. And then move on to the last term, اللي هو -7. Multiply here, multiply there. -7 times 2x is -14x. And then -7 times positive 1 is -7. Okay? طبعا على فكرة الأسئلة دي سهلة. هي بس يمكن تكون طويلة شوية بس هي it's super easy. Now you need to combine like terms again. طبعا 2x power 3 is a single term that has no one شبهها. And then these two will be combined together. Plus 1 plus 12 is plus 13. And please remember يا جماعة إنه when we add or subtract, we don't change the powers. We change the powers only in multiplication. And then these two to be combined together. Plus 6 minus 14 is -18, -8x. And then -7 remains as it is. -7 remains as it is. Okay, we're going to solve several questions related to this part over here, which is multiplying not just 3 brackets, multiplying any 3 items. Okay, now you have the steps over here. I'm not going to rewrite them again, but I'm going to scroll down to this example over here. And the question says, expand and simplify. The question doesn't say. You just need to know what to do whenever you have 3 items multiplied. Now, as you can see, you have these 3 items. You can pick any 2 brackets that you want, multiply them, and then multiply with the rest. بس هنا بقى, you have to be smart with your selection. Why do you have to be smart with your selection? Because if you look at bracket number 2 and bracket number 3, you will find that they are shortcuts. Now, this shortcut is the almost same. تمام؟ فأنا هنا هستعبط وهعمل حسابي إنه كأن ده مش موجود. I will pretend as if bracket number 1 does not exist. And now I will multiply. And let's remember the steps of the almost same. Only you multiply first and first, x times x, which is x power 2, and then second times second. Negative 2 times positive 2 is negative 4. So this is the result of the highlighted yellow. And then the bracket in which I was hiding, which is bracket number 1. Now, all that I will do is that, let me highlight this in yellow as well. I will multiply the answer of the almost same with this remaining bracket. هاخد بقى الإجابة دي وأعملها times البراكت ده. أهو. And then بقى I multiply using نفس الطريقة. Take the first term, multiply here, multiply there. X power 2 times 3x is 3x power 3. X power 2 times 4 is 4x squared. And then take the second term times here times there. Negative 4 times 3x is negative 12x. Negative 4 times positive 4 is negative 16. And here goes your answer. طبعا I always get this question. طب يا مس لو أنا قررت إن أنا مثلا أتعامل إن ده اللي مش موجود and I multiply these 2 first, then multiply by the third. Will I get the same answer? Definitely you will get the same answer. Definitely, 100%. Any 2 brackets that you pick and you multiply and then multiply with the third will give you the same answer. هي الفكرة كلها بس زي ما اتفقنا إن إحنا we have to be smart with our selection. If there is a chance of shortcuts, why not use the shortcuts? Now let's go to the whiteboard and solve a couple of more questions related to this part. بس من باب البراكتس مش أكتر. ممكن أنا أعمل حاجة يعني أنا ممكن مثلا أكتب الإكزامبل. You can pause the video and solve it and then check. Now this شوية is going to be tricky. Okay, what if I have this 2x, actually مش هخليها 2x أنا هسيبها x بس كده كمان. Okay, x multiplied by x plus 2 multiplied, for example, by x minus 3. ايه يا مس ده؟ احنا من شوية كنا شغالين 3 brackets, 3 binomials. What happened now? ايه الاكس اللي لوحدها دي؟ So what? تمام؟ If you have 3 items, and this is what I mean, if you have 3 items multiplied, it doesn't have to be 3 brackets. نفس الكلام. You pick any 2, you multiply, you simplify, then you multiply by the third. طبعا the catastrophic common mistake, الغلطة المرعبة is this. You take the x, multiply by the first term, and you multiply by the second term. طبعا this is مش بقى a huge mistake, this is a terrifying mistake. دي فيلم رعب. You can never do that. You have 3 items. Oh, this is item number 1. Even if it's not a bracket, even if it's just 1 term, it's إيه المشكلة? You have item number 2, you have item number 3. Pick any 2 items that you want. أنا مثلا, for example, I'm going to start with these 2. طيب, what if someone decided to start with the brackets الأول هما 2 and 3? عادي. You will get the same answer. And please remember to use اللي مش عاجبك خبيه. فأنا I'm going to start with item 1 and item 2, and I will pretend that this does not exist at all. So I will multiply normally. X times x, x squared. X times 2 is 2x. And then what I do is that خلاص أنا بقى خلصت دول أهم كأنهم مش موجودين بقى خلص أمرهم. Okay? Take the red and multiply by the third, by x minus 3. خلاص using the same procedure. So let me بقى undo. تمام. يبقى أنا I decided to multiply the first and the two. That was the answer. And then I will multiply the answer by the remaining bracket, which is x minus 3. Multiply بقى بالطريقة العادية اللي هي دي كده وكده وهنا وهنا. So x power 2 times x is x power 3. X power 2 times 3 is negative 3x squared. 2x times x is plus 2x power 2. And then 2x times negative 3 is negative 6x. طبعا by combining of like terms, x power 3 minus x power 2 minus 6x. And you just leave it as it is. And please, guys, my dear students, don't be creative. طب يا مس ايه رأيك نديفايد by x؟ طب ايه رأيك مش عارفة نعمل ايه؟ طب ايه رأيك مش عارفة نعمل ايه؟ لا, don't be creative and don't volunteer to do extra steps that are not required. The examiner says expand and simplify. That's it. Expand يعني remove the brackets. Simplify يعني collect like terms. خلاص خلص الموضوع. Okay? يبقى أنا I multiply these two together, x times x و x times 2. Then I multiplied by the third bracket. تالي سهل الموضوع. One more example. مثلا 4x power 2 minus 2 brackets x مثلا plus 5 all squared. حاجة زي كده. يا مس انت مالك بقى قاعدة بتسخمي كده وقاعدة بتسخفي الدنيا وبتحطي لنا مسائل غريبة. ما احنا كنا شغالين كويسين. ايه اللي حصل؟ Now الموضوع بسيط جدا. Yes, sometimes I might add an extra item over here. ايه المشكلة؟ هتقولي يا مس طب يا مس فين ال 3 items اللي انت قلتي multiplied؟ اهم. هم دول ال 3 items اللي انا قلت multiplied. ولو انا عايزة if I want to prove to you that there are 3 items, let's just اللي مش عاجبك خبيه. Ignore that this exists. Ignore that this exists. Let's take this and work on it here on the side separately. أهو. Do I have 3 items? Yes, I do have 3 items. The 2, which is a number, x plus 5 power 2, could be expanded into x plus 5 and x plus 5. ادي 3 items اهو بتوعي. Pick any 2, multiply, simplify, multiply with the third. بس طبعا علشان احنا super, okay, we will ناخد بالنا يعني ايه بالانجليزي؟ we will ناخد بالنا. يعني هناخد بالنا انه there is a shortcut over here. This is a shortcut اللي هي التوينز. تمام كده؟ فانا if there is a shortcut, try and use it. It's nice to use these shortcuts. But again, if you are in exam and you're lost, you can always do it this way. اللي هو two brackets and then proceed from there. طيب. What is the other huge mistake that happens in these sort of questions? The huge بقى hugest أكتر يعني أكتر حاجة huge في الدنيا إن الولاد يا مس بصي دي سهلة جدا هندخل التو جوه. طبعا this is extremely incorrect. Why? Because according to the order of operation, there is a multiplication between the two and the bracket, and then there is this power 2 over here. So if you have a plan to use the shortcut, you must expand the bracket first. You have to start with the power 2 first. ما ينفعش ابدا ان ادخل ال 2 دي هنا. الا بقى لو انا عملتها كده واشتغلت على دول مع بعض. دي بقى قصة تانية. بس زي ما اتفقنا احنا we are smart and we will use the shortcut. So please, please, please don't do these mistakes. Okay? Now, if there is multiplication and power, you have to start by the stronger operation, which is the power in this case. So the 2 will remain as it is. And then I will use the shortcut as explained earlier in the video. The expansion of twins is square the first times second times 2, or first times second times 2, square the last. And then I will multiply by 2, ending up with 2x power 2 plus 20x plus 25 plus 50. يبقى تاني, if you are going to use the shortcut, please expand the bracket first. How do I expand the bracket as explained earlier? Square the first, square the last, first times second times 2 to get the middle term. Then multiply your answer by 2 and you'll end up with 2x power 2 plus 20x plus 50. This if you decide to use the shortcut. طب مس انا مش عاجبني اللي انت بتقوليه ده، انا مش عايزه استعمل الشورت حقك، ما اقدرش اقول حاجه غير كده. If you don't want to use the shortcuts and you want to use the original method, bracket power 2 means bracket multiplied by itself. You have 3 items اهو. مثلا multiply these two together كده، وتاني ما نعملش الغلطه المرعبه اللي انا ادخل ال2 على البراكت الاولاني وادخل ال2 على البراكت الثاني، اعمل كده واعمل كده. ده غلط بشع. You cannot do that. Pick 2. اختار 2. For example, these 2. Multiply, then multiply by the third. You will definitely get the same answer. Okay, so we did the expansion and we spoke about the huge mistakes. Now let's go back to the question. Okay, so what will step number 1 be? Step number 1 be keeping the 4x squared as it is, keeping the minus sign as it is, removing the highlighted yellow and putting its answer instead. Removing the highlighted yellow and putting the answer instead, which is 2x power 2 plus 20x plus 50. I did a huge mistake over here. Can anyone tell me what is this huge mistake? The huge mistake that I did over here is that I didn't place this answer in a big bracket. I didn't place this answer in a big bracket because there is a minus sign over here. So I am subtracting the answer from the first term. ودايما يا جماعة عايزين نتعود لو أنا عندي حاجة minus حاجات لازم أحط الحاجات دي في bracket. If I have an item minus items, I must put the items in brackets. Why? Because this minus sign will affect all of these terms, changing all their signs. So please remember, حاجة minus حاجات, I must put the حاجات in a bracket بالشكل ده. ليه؟ لأن الماينس دي بتشقلب كل الساينز اللي وراها. So let's see what happens now and what will be the simplest form. Now, to write step number 3, 4x power 2 will remain as it is. And as we said, this minus will flip all the signs of the terms that are inside. Now, step number 4 is going to be the final answer, combining these two together into 2x squared minus 20x minus 50. I hope that this video was useful to you, اللي هو multiplying 3 items. And if you wish to practice more on multiplication and factorization, you can always refer to classifieds parts 1 and 3. And if you wish to check the page numbers, please look at the index. Thank you, everyone, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.